people. It's nice to have so many people.
Yeah, it's been 3 years.
If not, yeah, probably 4.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Conservation Commission hearing for January 10th, 2018. In compliance with the state of Massachusetts open meeting laws, we are being videotaped and audiotaped. We have first a continued public hearing on an ANRAD application for 144 Seekonk Street. Is Ted, how is your are you with? Okay, great. You grab a microphone and you can.
Hello, my name is Paul Hutnack. I'm with Andrew Survey and Engineering.
Hold it a little bit closer.
A little closer, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm Paul Hutnack. I'm here with Andrew Survey and Engineering to represent the project tonight. And as the commission is aware, we have filed an ANRAD for 144 Seekonk Street, and Tetra Tech Rizzo has reviewed that site. And since the last meeting, what has occurred is that our wetland scientists and the wetland scientist for the reviewer hired by the commission met on site, and we have a letter which we replied to on December 30th, which I believe you have and probably have in front of you. And basically, in that letter, what happens is that here's the wetland that was looked at for the most part. And there were some test plots done at the top of that wetland to define the top of the wetland, essentially how far up the hill that wetland went. And then there were a few plots done throughout coming down the hill, if you will, to define where the wetland edge was as it ran down the hill. So those plots and flags were added to the revised plan, and that plan was submitted to the Conservation Commission. And it's my understanding at this point that the flags for the BVW, bordering vegetated wetland, that were here for the ANRAD 4 have been agreed upon, and that's really what we were looking for. We're looking to get the the wetland line delineated. So certainly happy to answer any questions or speak further about it. But that's really I think you've seen this before, and I think it's been in process for a little while here. But that's really what's occurred since the last meeting.
Thank you. Our agent did look at the new plan. We reviewed it. We finally got the written responses and the answers from both sides, and I think we've tied into all of those. And I'll let our agent speak, but I think that we are in agreement that the flags are where we believe they should be. This had nothing to do with any location of a potential vernal pool, because that is not in the scope of what your filing is for.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Janet, you agree with all the flags, all the locations?
Yeah, it's, for me, with just the time and the way things happen, with not being out there, now it's snow time, so I have to just bow to you two guys being out there and being in agreement with stuff. So.
Is the plan here, what is the latest revision date?
12/1/17. I think this says that. I'm having
Yeah,
trouble
right here,
seeing what
okay.
it says here, but I think it does.
That's the latest
I
plan?
zoomed
Okay.
in, sorry.
All right, does anybody on the board have any questions on this? This process is just to mark out and have agreed upon where the flags are for the bordering vegetated wetlands, nothing else. You all set? Anybody in the audience here for this filing with any questions? You guys are all set? All right, so that being said, we can close this public hearing with a motion.
Make a motion to close this hearing for 144 Seekonk Street.
Second? Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Did you prepare an order of resource area delineation. We did. So now, this order just confirms the flagging that we're in agreement, so we need a motion to endorse.
You got that, the first pink one that says vote? First
Yes, I
pink
do.
flag. Okay, good.
So we're marking the box for bordering vegetation only. All right, want me to do that? Okay. So now need a motion to execute the order of resource area delineation for 144 Seekonk Street.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so I'll pass this around to be signed. Go this way first, Michelle. You guys are all set then, okay?
I'll show it.
You're welcome.
Can we grab that tomorrow or something? Is that
I believe you can, yes.
great? Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
John, this one has a question.
Just a question.
Sure, yeah.
That is just for the resource areas. You said the vernal pools will be done at a later date.
This is for the bordering vegetation. That's what they applied for. Right. Right now, there was a question of a vernal pool out there, and a couple of things, as I talked to Mr. O'Connell a while ago at the last meeting. You can't confirm a vernal pool at this time period. You'd have to wait until April or May. And with this being a comprehensive permit, the normal process, if waivers are all granted, then vernal pools aren't part of these state acts, so they can actually bypass that.
I thought they were federal.
Correct. No, no. So basically, the only issue left to that is the Conservation Commission decides that that's important to review and asks the ZBA not to waive that particular regulation, then that would be a potential step.
So the vernal pool itself is not protected under state or federal law?
That's my understanding. Is that correct, Janet?
If it's isolated.
Right.
If it's part of another resource area, you've got floodplain, you have riverfront, whatever. But it only stays within jurisdiction of another resource area. So it all by itself doesn't have protection.
Okay, I was under the impression that federal applied here. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Next, the Enclave is 7:15.
Didn't they
Can
ask
ask
for
for
continuance?
continuance, yes. And our next meeting is February
14th.
14th. So we could put these folks on at 7 o'clock then.
Make a motion to continue the Enclave at Norfolk till February 14th at 7 PM.
No, excuse me?
What's that?
7:15 p.m.
7:15 PM.
The new filing is going to be at 7 o'clock. The new filing is till
Okay,
7
we'll amend
o'clock.
that to 7:15.
Okay, making up. We'll amend the amendment to 7:15 PM on February 14th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Why don't we get the minutes out of the way? We have the minutes for November 8th. The next public hearing, which is also continued, is not until 7:30. So why don't we get the minutes out of the way, and then we have a significant release to vote on, so.
I read, yeah, I read the minutes. I didn't find anything that I could make any adjustments for, so.
think I'm gonna start moving these meetings with 5-minute intervals. And then if we get continuations, we don't have 15 minutes or a half an hour delay like we have in Lawrence Street, you know? So we'll just do them every 5 minutes and then let the folks wait.
Mm-hmm. They don't mind making us wait.
Janet's notes that I did not include, they usually with your agenda.
You guys
Yeah,
all set for the
You want to
minutes?
just take one?
Okay.
You want a secretary?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm the secretary now.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept the minutes for November 8th, 2017, as written.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Janet, we have a request for a
Take one and
certificate
pass
of
one.
release for 54 Mirror Lake. What's the history of that? How long ago did they get their orders?
Their number on that, their number was like,
244,
yeah, 244,
1999.
99.
So that just sat there?
Yeah, something old and with, I don't know, buying and selling a house, it kept
All right,
up, so.
did you go out and check?
Nope,
You did not?
nope.
All right.
This is just releasing them from the order, you know, if it's expired, it's expired. So if they have any violations, they will get from this time forward, you know. Violations, I think you can only do 3 years
Okay,
going back, so.
okay. All right, that being said, we need a vote to execute a certificate of release for a 54 Mirror Lake Ave. Someone want to make
You need
that
a
motion?
motion?
Yes.
Motion to take a vote on the request for a certificate of release for 54 Mirror Lake Ave.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we can take that document to sign.
Find your name, sign above your name.
So now, since we have a half an hour wait, is there, is there anything you want to bring up about these reg changes now that we can discuss now? Other than what I mentioned, which is the one fee increase and the number of copies?
Yeah, just so the board members are aware, they're, I don't know if it's a definite, or they're hoping, or they're in the works of switching over computer stuff, like now when you go in for building permits on the computer, and I think they want to set it up for the other departments like that, so it's, I'm trying to get our forms information up on that system, so it's ready to go, so it's like if we put up, the regulations, if we're thinking of any changes, like how many copies, to do it now before that goes up on that site for everybody. I mean, it can be changed at any time, but it's like if there's quick stuff that we can just knock off now to make it easier, you know, more power to everybody. And plus, it's just like some of these filings with, you know, the big things, they're coming in with like 2 boxes full. It says 14 copies, you know, and then they have changes in here. And then it ends up going into the recycle bin, so it's waste, it's time, you know, going through them, everything, so.
Mrs. Gleason, I think we're going to take a 10-minute break, okay? We have a couple of continuances, so why don't we check out for about 10 minutes and
Did you want to go over that? Can we just go back in the office, Mr. Weddleton? I want.
Is Dorothy here? Thank you. All right, we're back on. And,
Oh, the Tin Man.
we have next a continuation of a public hearing for 60 River Road. We've been asked by the applicant to continue that to our next meeting because they're not prepared. So we will need a motion to continue this public hearing until our next meeting, February 14th at 7:05.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
So there, so we get busy here. Lawrence Street next. We have, the applicant is not here yet. So,
Give him 2 minutes.
do you folks know what they were actually going to do construction-wise? I have a little brief. None of the pond is being filled in. They were going to the bottom of the bank, the slope on one side, right? And they're gonna be putting up, my understanding, is there some type of a pre-constructed retaining wall with a steel basis, so there's not even any digging for footings.
Oh, cool.
And off of that, they're gonna be cantilevering the sidewalk, that's gonna be some type of an AZEK or something, boardwalk that's gonna be 5 feet, that's gonna go over the pond. So, in their filing with us, it's a way to get the road 24 feet wide without filling in any of the pond area. And on the other side, they're looking just to put up a guardrail. And one of the meetings, they wanted to come back with one of these metal guardrails that they told me looks nice, all patinaed, which I call rust. So we asked them to do the homework to find out, get
They get
a
the
wood
paint.
one that actually would, I believe, would comply. So you've got a nice wood guardrail going down the side rather than just a metal one that's gonna rust.
Is that metal foundation, is that prefab, they just bring it in pieces and put it?
Yeah, right. From what I understand, it's a long running piece of steel.
One big piece?
Well, no, probably a few, because the thing is probably,
I would say
I don't know,
long
300
piece.
feet long or so, right? So I think they just connect with each other, and then you build the wall off of
Do they
that.
drive the rods in like they do sometimes?
Right, I'm not sure.
There's gotta be a way to
I almost got the impression they're going down to some type of a structural base, and then just laying this thing.
Just laying it on the base.
Right,
And the weight then probably of itself
right,
compresses and holds it.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Is it true they're putting a toll up?
Yeah.
The town is,
how to make money?
only during the construction phase.
What did you folks get the gravel removal down to? You have a new number yet? Are you still working on it?
We're 7:45.
I think they actually did like, yeah,
I think they got it.
for 900,000 or something.
I think they originally said 1.2 million. I think the peer review with Tetra Tech, they upped it to like 1.5 million, but through working through that, I think they got it down to 900,000 or something like that. So
Was he promising so many trucks a day and that's it?
Certain time frame, so it wouldn't interfere with the buses and everything else.
Right.
he committed to Monday through Friday from 8 to 2:30, I believe,
Yeah.
to be outside of the windows of the buses and stuff. So.
Do any of you folks live on Lawrence Street, or you're in your whereabouts, between the two?
26.
Are you between the two egresses?
Yeah, I am. So I'm right where Eagle, well, Brett Farms actually, no, Brett Farms at Lawrence. I'm right in that corner of that red house. With the two red lights.
So in theory, if all of the trucks come in and out of the first egress, right, then it won't be going
Won't
by,
affect me.
it won't go by Lawrence Street.
But I'm gonna assume with that second egress, you're gonna see probably, the workers going to the second egress to get, if they're going to houses that are farther down, they're gonna go up and go closer and park up there.
Right, right.
And, park down there and walk all the way up through the whole construction. I doubt they're gonna have their own, transit system inside of it to move the workers, so,
Well, that part is also where the apartments are going, right?
yeah.
Down near there.
The big part is where do all the workers park.
Here we go.
Yay. No, we're running ahead of schedule, so.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, good heavens.
We're having a good conversation.
Get that set right up and we can wrap this up. We're opening now the public hearing continuation for Lawrence Street on an ANRAD filing. I certainly do.
Microphone is right there, this gentleman has it.
My name is Ingeborg Hegeman with BSC Group, and I'm here to represent the town of Norfolk in its ANRAD application for Lawrence Street. Since our last meeting, we had a field visit with the commission staff, and there was a request to make a couple of amendments to the plan to show the end of the delineated resource areas, so it was clear where we had placed flags and where we hadn't placed flags. And I forget what was the other thing you wanted.
We do the color. So
And the colors were from last time, which showed the state bank, the local bank, and the bordering land subject to flooding. Oh, the other thing we did was show the 50-foot no disturb zone, and the 100-foot buffer zone had been there previously. So that, I think, was the information you needed. Yeah, so that's it.
So Gina tells me that she's in agreement with all the resource lines after your visit out there, is that correct?
Yeah.
And the plan reflects everything you guys talked about?
Yes.
So it's complete for the next step?
And just FYI, because where this was resources and including the bylaw, not knowing what's going to happen, so to add on those buffer zones, so depending what the filing is that comes in, if it applies for bylaw stuff, so the buffer zones are on there, so hopefully we work together to get as much information so everything can go smoothly.
Any questions, you folks? No.
And also,
Everything was
just
addressed
so you
from
know,
last time.
the stamp and signature, because the wet stamp and signature on the plans, just so we have that. That's
All
part
right,
of
do you
what-
have that now?
Yeah, that's what, part of what was.
Okay. Questions from the board? Audience, anybody here for this filing with questions? I explained before some of you folks got here, this is just a finale where we've agreed upon where the resource areas actually are. So the next step, I believe they're going to be in our agenda next meeting, February 14th. And actually coming with a design for the road and the bridge and the sidewalk, et cetera. And I think there's going to be, I'm not sure when the next selectmen's meeting is. I think it's somewhere around the 18th of this month or something. I think there's going to be a discussion then on this whole, because as I had mentioned, the Board of Selectmen are the applicants in this filing, not the person developing Abbeville. So all your questions can happily go to them at their meeting. But I'm sure that you'll have a lot when they actually come in with the construction docs here. So that will be our next meeting, more than likely. That being said, any questions still that anybody wants to answer? You're all set, Margaret? Okay. All right, in that case, we accept the motion to close the public hearing for this INRAD.
Close the public hearing for Lawrence Street and Red.
Second? Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Did you prepare the ORAD document? You did. All right, so this is a document here approving the INRAD filing, the orders. We need a motion to approve the order of resource area delineation for for Lawrence Street.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Discussion? Set?
Can we just read where it says the vote? Because I think it's what, the resources that were.
You've checked both.
Don't test me. Right, yeah, because the bordering vegetated is okay, and then the other resources, which are these guys here.
Right.
Just so.
That's everything, okay. All right. So we're taking the vote, right?
They're ready to, yeah, we voted.
Okay, you can decide. Why don't you start it first?
This is my
You can
pen
use it.
sheet. Oh, you had that pen right in front of you. What'd you do? I have a pen. Stand below me.
Wait a second, no, I don't actually. Go. Yes.
Okay.
I think we can have a copy of this picked up at the office tomorrow after we make our copies and everything, okay? You're welcome.
I had talked to Tom, and I let him know if he's ready and what he has. I think he's coming by tomorrow.
Just pass those over to Amy. Those are signed for the
Well, good
minutes.
thinking. Good thinking. Thank you.
We're just about out of here.
Huh? There's nothing else to talk about, right?
Nothing. Let's not talk about the playoffs game coming up.
No, not really.
We'll see where
What's
it
that
goes
there?
from here.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in
Favor?
Aye. Guys are free to go.
I did.